So okay guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how I made this super simple yet effective privacy sensor using nothing more than an ultrasonic distance sensor, a DigiSpark, and some 3D printed parts. Now with that said, let's get to this by starting off with the boring technical stuff. If you want a diagram, it's up on screen now, and I do want to state this before we go any further into this video. The sensors that I have chosen are not the greatest, so if you go down below in the description and choose to buy the ones that I have linked, just be aware you will need to do a hardware mod to them or a hacky software solution to get them to work. In my particular case, I'm using the hacky software solution, so I'll be listing that code down below as well. But with that said, once you have the software solution implemented or the hardware solution implemented, these sensors are actually pretty good. Anyway, now that the diagram has been on screen far long enough, how about we cut away to what it actually should look like once you got it all together. As you can see here, I got the sensor and the DigiSpark mounted to some pins onto some proto board. Overall, we don't need to wire everything up. The only things that need to be wired up are the power and ground rails for the sensor itself and the two trigger pins. Well, technically one's an echo pin, one's a trigger pin. Now there are software solutions to get these particular modules working with just one pin. I think that would be the far better solution. But overall, I have it wired up just by wiring the two pins directly up to my DigiSpark, and that seems to be doing pretty good overall. But yeah, as you can see, that is pretty much the hardware. I could just solder on a USB cable, make it more permanent, but I decided I wanted the cable to be replaceable. I figured if it was replaceable, it means I can make it as long as I want or as short as I want without having to reopen up the device. Another thing to note, I didn't really make the backplate all that great. It was meant to be a rushed print that I plan to change in the future to add more stuff to this, but just as a little glimpse as to what else you could do with this, especially when I make the backplate in the future, you can add ports to the back of this that will allow you to control other devices. In my particular case with this sensor that I built for the video, I just put on a JTAG connector, I believe is what they're called. And yeah, that's what I will use to trigger other devices. So not only can this turn my screen off when I walk away from my computer, it can also turn off my lights. Anyway, you can also do the inverse with this device. You can have like a little switch on it or something, turn it on, walk away from your computer. That way when anyone goes and sits at your computer, they won't be able to do anything because the screen will just stay off. Unless they know what's actually keeping it off. Another thing to note, I designed this to kind of look like a simple webcam. I wanted it to look as innocuous as I possibly could on the desk. I also included a little viewing window with the LED that's built into the DigiSpark toggled whenever you're out of range. So if you see the LED on top flashing, that means your sensor is out of range. But yeah guys, that's basically it for this video. I'm sorry I couldn't get much for, B-roll when it came to actually using this device. It's rather hard to record my computer and this thing at the same time, while making it also in focus that I'm walking away from my computer. So I hope the B-roll that I did manage to get was enough to satisfy your questions on how this thing works. But yeah, for now I'm gonna leave today's video off here. DTPK signing off. Peace. Now looking back on it, in the video it's a little bit more obvious, but in person, the mods themselves are fairly paired up as so. I'll have a diagram on screen, and in the description I'll include a